Dear Libra, this isn't just another video. This is a divine message and it's arriving right on time. An unexpected ending is unfolding in your life and destiny is bringing someone back. But not in the way you imagined. They are returning either to break you completely or to rebuild you from the soul outward. And only you will know which path is yours. Welcome. If you're here right now, Libra, it means something in your spirit has aligned with this exact moment. You may feel uncertain, anxious, even emotional lately, and you're not alone. There's a shift happening within you. A crack in the energetic foundation of your life. But within that space something is whispering your name. This message isn't just about love. It's about a collision. It's about confronting. You see, someone from your past is being magnetically pulled back toward you. They may not even know why yet. But their soul does. And yours does too. Here's the truth, this return isn't about repeating old stories. It's about choosing a new ending or perhaps, a new beginning. One that begins with self-respect, spiritual courage, and an open heart. And Libra, I feel your heart. It's tender but wise. It's been through storms and still dares to love. That is sacred. That is your power. But hear this: when love returns, it will test your balance. Will you lose yourself trying to fix what once broke you? Or will you finally honor the version of you that has outgrown old wounds? Before we continue, I want to say thank you truly. Thank you for being here, for allowing this moment of reflection to enter your life. Every like, every comment, every time you share this space, you're helping to expand a soul-centered community where truth and healing matter. Your presence here doesn't just support this channel, it elevates the collective frequency of every soul watching. So, Libra, let me ask you something deeply important. What do you believe brought you here today? Was it intuition? A dream? A restlessness in your chest you couldn't quite explain? I invite you to comment below with a sacred number, any number that comes to your mind or soul right now. It may seem simple, but it's your soul speaking in code. It's how the universe leaves breadcrumbs for those who listen. And don't go anywhere just yet. Stay with me until the end of this reading, because what is coming is extraordinary. There's a divine twist in your story that you weren't supposed to see until now. But it's here. And it's real. As it is written, those who trust the whispers of the soul will never walk in darkness. Let's go deeper, Libra. You've waited long enough. Sometimes, what appears as a sudden ending is actually the most sacred beginning in disguise. Libra, you are someone who longs for peace, balance, and beauty in all areas of life. You often avoid unnecessary confrontation, not out of fear, but because your soul is wired to harmonize, to soften sharp edges, to bring light into every room. But there are moments like this one when avoiding discomfort only deepens the disharmony within. And now, the universe is lovingly but firmly placing a mirror in front of you, asking, what are you still holding on to that is no longer aligned with your truth? This isn't punishment. It's protection. You may have received news, a message, or perhaps even silence from someone that felt like a crack through the center of your chest. Maybe someone you trusted has quietly stepped back. Or maybe their words stung in a way that echoed louder than usual. Whatever it was, it shook the still waters of your Libra heart. And in that ripple, a truth began to rise, one that can no longer be denied. The energy of the Ten of Swords tarot card speaks clearly here. It doesn't just signify an ending, it represents the final breath of something that has weighed on you for far too long. It may have been a relationship, a job, a pattern of self-sacrifice, or an illusion you clung to for comfort. The truth is, you already knew this moment was coming. You felt it building, quietly, in the corners of your awareness. And now, it's here. The door has closed. Not because you failed, but because your spirit has outgrown the room. Interestingly, this phase is also deeply connected to the Justice card, your ruling archetype. Justice isn't about revenge or punishment. It's about alignment, about restoring inner equilibrium when life has tilted too far in one direction. You are being asked to weigh your heart against the feather of your own integrity. Have you given more than you've received? Have you quieted your voice just to preserve someone else's comfort? The time for compromising your essence has come to an end. This is the recalibration. And it's divine. Numerologically, the energy of the number 9 is present here. It carries the vibration of endings that prepare the ground for spiritual elevation. It invites you to reflect, release, and recognize that closure is not rejection, it's redirection. And then there's the number 6, circling back from the past. This moment may involve someone or something returning, not necessarily to stay, but to bring you clarity, to show you the full arc of the cycle, so you can finally let go of any remaining illusions. You see, not all closures are loud. Some are soft, quiet, barely whispered. But even in silence, they carry the power to heal when acknowledged with honesty. There is no shame in having loved deeply. There is no weakness in hoping for the best. But true self-love begins when you can say, "This no longer serves me," and bless it as you walk away. What you are experiencing now is a sacred ending. It is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to release you from expectations, from roles that kept you small, from stories that no longer reflect who you are becoming. And yes, endings hurt. Even when they're right. But just because something has ended doesn't mean it was wrong. It simply means its time has passed, and you are being called into something greater. Sometimes, divine wisdom arrives not as a miracle but as a moment of surrender. As the spirit whispers, "Let go," the mind may resist. But the heart always knows. Remember, this peace is not the absence of endings. Peace is knowing which doors no longer need to be opened. You're not being punished, Libra. You're being realigned. And the sooner you honor the truth, the sooner new beauty, new purpose, and new connection will find their way to you. What if the person returning to your life isn't just someone from your past, but a mirror the universe is holding up to your soul? Libra, you know better than most how love can become a dance of reflection, two people mirroring one another's light, yes, but also their wounds, their fears, their unfinished lessons. And now, someone is being drawn back into your orbit. But here's what you must understand: they are not here for comfort or nostalgia. They are here to reflect the truth of who you are now, not who you were. The version of you that once loved this person may have been softer, perhaps more forgiving than necessary. You may have been more willing to compromise your values, silence your intuition, or ignore red flags in the name of peace. But today, you're different. You've been shaped by quiet pain, by moments no one saw but you survived anyway. You've learned to sit with silence, to listen to your needs, and to draw clearer boundaries around your energy. So when this person returns, and they will, you will recognize that the connection is no longer about finishing a love story. It's about beginning a new chapter of self-honesty. Sometimes, life brings people back not to rekindle old flames but to help you see just how far you've come. When you see their name pop up unexpectedly, when they appear in your dreams or show up on your mind for no clear reason, take a breath and remember, these aren't coincidences. These are invitations to observe, not react. Reflect, not regress. That strange wave of emotion, the sudden sadness or longing, it isn't just about them. It's your body remembering a version of love that once felt like home, even if it was built on shaky ground. This is where the real awakening begins. Not in the return, but in the realization that you no longer need to be completed by anyone. The emptiness you once tried to fill with love or attention from another now asks to be met with your own presence, your own compassion. If this person sees all of you, the broken parts and the brilliance, and still chooses to stay, then perhaps there is something worth exploring. But if they are returning only to repeat the patterns that once drained you, you now have the wisdom to step aside with grace. You don't have to prove your worth by enduring what once hurt you. You don't need to invite back a lesson already learned. And yet, sometimes, love comes again not to test you, but to confirm your growth. It doesn't mean this is your forever person. It might simply be the final clearing, the last emotional knot that needs to be untangled before a deeper, more aligned relationship can enter. It's okay to be open. It's also okay to be cautious. Your heart has a memory, and it's asking you to listen with clarity, not fear. If someone returns and triggers something inside of you, don't push it away. Ask yourself, what is this stirring trying to show me? Am I responding from my old self or from the healed version I am becoming? A quiet lesson echoed through ancient wisdom says that love is patient, but it also honors truth. It doesn't insist on staying where it's not welcomed, nor does it force itself into old containers. When love returns in your life, let it meet the real you, not the you who needed saving, but the you who finally believes they are worth being chosen with intention. And Libra, if your heart is ready, it will know. Because true love doesn't just soothe the soul, not to relive the past, but to awaken something deeper. Something real. Something that invites you to stand in the full spectrum of who you are, light, shadow, and everything in between. Sometimes growth arrives not in the form of struggle, but through an unexpected return, one that carries not just emotional closure, but the quiet potential for tangible blessings. Libra, as you process the resurfacing of a connection that once held your heart, you may begin to notice how this energetic shift is rippling far beyond your relationships. It may show up in the way you begin to make decisions, how you respond to your environment, or even how money begins to flow seemingly out of nowhere. This is not coincidence. It is alignment. You see, the heart and the mind are not as separate as they seem. When your emotional landscape begins to heal, when forgiveness softens the edges of old pain, something very real happens in your brain. Patterns of fear and lack start to fade. New thoughts begin to take root, ones rooted in clarity, vision, and receptivity. And from this rewired mindset, new actions take form. You might feel brave enough to ask for more, or to finally say yes to the things you've quietly desired. That is why this moment matters. The return of a person is never just about romance. Sometimes, it's a trigger for the larger awakening you've been calling in. The tarot speaks clearly through the Empress and Ace of Pentacles here, cards of abundance, creativity, and new foundations. The Empress teaches us that prosperity comes most naturally when we are in touch with our inner flow, our nurturing nature, and our worthiness to receive. The Ace of Pentacles reminds us that a fresh start in the material world is available, but only if we're willing to plant the seed and tend to it daily. What's even more profound is that these seeds may already be in your hands. Perhaps this reconnection is prompting you to reevaluate your gifts, your career path, or the way you invest your energy. Maybe you're realizing that certain talents you once pushed aside now deserve your full attention. Or perhaps you're recognizing that money is not meant to be chased, but welcomed when your values, your time, and your heart are in harmony. During this period, there are subtle signs guiding you, numbers like 222, asking you to center your emotions and trust the balance that's forming beneath the surface. 717 reminds you that even old stories can carry sacred new beginnings when viewed through the lens of growth. And 1212 speaks of soul-aligned partnership, not just in love, but in business, creativity, and shared mission. To ground this energy, take small, clear steps. Clear out your physical space, old emails, cluttered drawers, clothes you no longer resonate with. This simple act clears space energetically for new ideas, new clients, new conversations. Pick one skill, book, or class you've been putting off, and commit to exploring it. You'll be amazed at how quickly momentum builds when intention meets action. And write down 3 short-term financial goals, not to control the outcome, but to signal to the universe that you are ready to engage with wealth from a place of clarity and peace. There is wisdom in remembering that blessings often arrive dressed in the ordinary. A phone call, a quiet moment, an invitation. Be present enough to recognize them when they appear. And know this: what's meant for you doesn't need to be forced. It flows, not because it's easy, but because you're finally aligned with your own truth. Keep your heart open, Libra, but let your hands be ready too. This time, love may be bringing more than just emotions, it could be bringing the foundation for a whole new life. Healing doesn't always come with grand gestures. Sometimes, it arrives quietly through the breath you didn't even realize you were holding, through a single moment of stillness where you finally allow yourself to feel without judgment. Libra, as someone who has spent so much of your life trying to create peace around you, it's easy to forget that your own body is the first place that peace must live. And now, after all the emotional shifts you've been navigating, the unexpected ending, the return of someone significant, the inner questioning, it's time to come home to yourself. Not just emotionally, but physically. Fully. There's an ancient understanding, supported even by modern science, that the body doesn't forget what the mind tries to move past. Your nervous system, your muscles, your breath, they all carry impressions of heartbreak, disappointment, and survival. When we don't process those moments, they don't disappear. They stay, lodged in the form of tension, fatigue, digestive issues, even anxiety that seems to appear out of nowhere. But here's the empowering truth: just as your body held that pain, it also holds the key to your release. And this week, that release begins with intention. Start simple. Place one hand on your heart and allow yourself to feel your own presence. Try the 5-5-5 breath. Inhale for 5 seconds, hold for 5 seconds, exhale for 5 seconds. Do this for 5 minutes and watch how quickly your body begins to soften. This isn't about controlling your thoughts or fixing anything. It's about offering your system a rhythm of safety, one that your soul can sink into without resistance. At night, before bed, consider using a warm compress over your chest. As the warmth spreads, close your eyes and speak softly to yourself, not as someone broken, but as someone brave. Say, "I forgive," not because someone else deserves it, but because you deserve to be free. Free from resentment. Free from replaying old scenarios. Free from the burden of holding on to a past that no longer reflects your truth. This week also calls for gentle physical support. Omega-3s can calm inflammation and improve mood regulation. Vitamin D, especially if you've been inside more than usual, supports emotional resilience. Curcumin, found in turmeric, is not just for physical pain, it gently soothes the inflammation of the emotional body as well. These are subtle tools, but they add up. They remind your body that it's safe now. That it no longer needs to be in fight or flight. That healing isn't something far away, it's already in motion. You might also try introducing rose or sandalwood essential oils into your daily ritual. Even a few drops on your pillow or wrists can rewire how your brain associates memory and safety. These scents hold a resonance of softness and sacredness, of heart healing and trust. And right now, your heart deserves to be reintroduced to tenderness, not through anyone else's words, but through your own consistent care. Finally, I invite you to journal. No overthinking. No pressure. Just one gentle question: what have I learned from the times my heart has broken? There's gold in that reflection, not the kind you cash in, but the kind that reshapes your inner worth. The more you write from truth, the more the past becomes fuel, not a wound. And when that happens, Libra, you'll realize something powerful. The version of you who once broke no longer exists. You've outgrown the old story. You've stepped into a new vibration. And now, everything around you, your body, your breath, you're energized, learning how to catch up to the light you've already become. There comes a moment in every journey when reflection must lead to choice. Libra, your natural gift for weighing possibilities, for finding balance and fairness, is what makes you so deeply attuned to the complexities of love. But now, the scales are not outside of you, they're within. A part of you is being asked to decide whether you will return to the familiar patterns that once kept you safe, or step boldly into the unfamiliar space where growth lives. And the truth is, both paths are available. One feels softer at first, filled with nostalgia, comfort, and echoes of who you used to be. The other? It may feel uncertain, even intimidating, but it holds the future your soul has been quietly asking for. After all the inner healing you've cultivated, after facing the parts of yourself that used to shrink or sacrifice, it would be a disservice to walk back into a version of love that demands your silence again. Love is not meant to be earned through suffering or self-erasure. And if someone returns now, no matter how sincere, no matter how deep the bond once was, you owe it to yourself to ask, are they meeting the person I've become, or are they still expecting the person I once had to be? There's a gentle but firm wisdom in acknowledging that just because a connection resurfaces doesn't mean it belongs in your future. Sometimes people come back not to stay, but to reflect a final truth, to remind you of your resilience, to offer closure, or even to challenge your boundaries one last time. That's why this is not just a reunion, it's a test of alignment. Will you bend to fit into a mold that no longer reflects, or will you hold steady, even if that means walking alone for a little longer? It's okay to still feel love. It's okay to still remember the good. But emotional maturity teaches us that we can carry love without carrying the pain. We can wish someone well without inviting them back into spaces they've already outgrown. The choice isn't between love and loneliness, it's between illusion and self-respect. Between replaying what's broken or rewriting the story with your name at the center. In these moments, it helps to pause and speak honestly with yourself. Ask, if this person has returned to test me, am I prepared to pass the test with grace? Can I love myself enough to walk away from what isn't fully honoring me? That's not pride, it's clarity. And clarity is what allows love to flourish in its most transformative form. You're not just choosing between people. You're choosing between patterns. Between cycles you've already completed and the freedom waiting just beyond them. The fear may whisper that if you don't accept what's familiar, you'll lose something irreplaceable. But real wisdom reminds us that anything rooted in truth will not require you to compromise who you are becoming. Take a moment and claim it out loud, or write it in the comments as an anchor for your decision. I choose myself. I choose the kind of love that builds me, not breaks me. Let this be your declaration not just to others, but to the universe itself. Because when you choose yourself with certainty, everything not aligned with that truth will naturally fall away. And in its place, the right people, the right path, and the right peace will find their way to you without force, without confusion, and without delay. And now, Libra, if you've stayed with me this far, I want you to take a deep breath, because what we've just walked through together is not simply a horoscope, not just a story of return and release, but a living reflection of your own soul's evolution. You have moved through the emotional echo of an unexpected ending, you've stood face to face with the mirror of a returning love, and you've questioned whether that familiar presence belongs in the new chapter you're crafting. These are not easy things to feel. And yet here you are, still listening, still seeking, still awakening. You've heard me say this already, but I'll remind you again, not all love returns to stay. Some come back to help you say a final goodbye with clarity, others arrive to help you see just how much you've grown. Either way, the return itself is not the destination. It's the invitation. The choice is still yours. Will you carry forward an old version of love, or will you release it so you can finally welcome the kind of love that is spacious enough to let you breathe, bold enough to see your fullness, and safe enough to grow inside? Libra, this return is not about starting over, it's about finishing something consciously, or elevating it beyond the old patterns into something profoundly new. That's what real growth looks like, not needing things to end perfectly, but choosing to end them intentionally, or to reimagine them on higher ground. So I ask you now, gently but clearly, what will you do with this energy that has circled back into your life? Will you accept it blindly? Or will you pause, reflect, and respond from the version of you that knows what you deserve? More than anything, I want you to walk away from this video believing something powerful, that you are worthy of love that builds, not love that breaks. That endings are not punishments, but redirections. That when something leaves your life, whether a person, a pattern, or an illusion, it creates space for something better to arrive. And that space, my dear Libra, is sacred. Now, if this message resonated with you on a deep level, I invite you to take a small but powerful step. Comment below with a number that feels sacred to you in this moment. It can be an angel number or one you've been seeing repeatedly. and write a short affirmation for the universe. Maybe something like, I am ready for the love that honors my growth, or I choose peace over patterns. Whatever words come, make them yours. And please, if this video has guided you, inspired you, or simply reminded you that you're not alone in this journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Zodiac Whisper Tarot. Every single act of support helps us bring more of these healing messages to those who need it most. It helps this little corner of the universe shine a little brighter for you, and for so many others waking up just like you are. Libra, thank you for showing up. Thank you for being open. Thank you for being brave enough to listen to your heart when so many choose to silence theirs. And remember, if you truly wish to experience a miracle, then let every illusion fall away. Because no magic can grow on ground that is still pretending to be something it's not. This is your moment. Step into it. The past may be knocking, but the future is waiting. Which one will you open the door to?